But you've been seeing a lot of BTC maxis on Twitter right now, and I do agree. There's been more and more, I think, coming out of the woodwork. I think some strange long-haired TikToker came out of the blue the other day shitting on HEX, and he tweet got deleted, or so. I don't even know. I don't understand it. I didn't watch it. As soon as I saw his face, I was like, I'm not watching this shit.
Yep.
But you've been saying that you've been seeing BTC maxi comments right now. Just seeing a lot of them saying lots of trash, like, oh, HEX, like the HEX chart is the worst chart ever, and this is it. It's really over this time, and all this stuff. So what are you seeing? Like, is there actually an increase by volume? Or what do you think? And what do you make of the sentiment of like the mainstream crypto people right now versus this ecosystem?
Well, again, I think the root of all of this is because the BTC maxis are probably threatened by HEX. The ones that know what it is really want to see it fail. They want to listen. Anybody that's got bags in crypto, that's what they talk about. They talk about the bags that they have, just like us. We are PulseChain, PulseX, HEX, loaded with coins, and that's what we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, the BTC maxis who say nothing else is crypto, everything else is garbage. Well, that's flat out just not true. We don't deny that there are other good projects out there. We just don't talk about them because we're not really that invested in them. Whereas, BTC is very threatened by anything, especially when the guy, Richard Hart, who came from the BTC, background, and he was a miner back early in the day, when people like that change their worldview and say, well, guys, Bitcoin has flaws, and I think I've built something better, they get pretty threatened by that. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these things come out, because they try to FUD it. As the price goes up, they kind of go in the background. And, it was really bad the first cycle when it first launched. And I'm seeing a resurgence of some of these people come back out. And honestly, on Twitter, it becomes quite toxic if you let it bother you and you read it, because it really makes you second guess what you're doing and why you're here. So, if you're not muting them or blocking them, you should be, instead of engaging with them, because when you engage with them, it helps that algorithm, and you see more and more of it, of right. That type of talk. So, be firm with the decisions that you made, and, we're all going to be fine. It's just, you gotta block out the noise, and the only way to do that is to mute them or block them. Seriously. In time, as the price goes back up, they'll quiet down again, but they like to see it when there's maybe a little bit of uncertainty and people, and they try to get them to the Bitcoin side of things.
Yeah, it's funny that I happen to see this tweet right now as you're saying this, because not that this guy is a Bitcoin maxi. He's actually been anti-crypto, but I think he's definitely in on Bitcoin now. But Peter Schiff, 4 hours ago, did you see this?
No.
Tweeted, Richard Hart is another crook that I correctly called out years ago. And I forgot that they had that debate.
Yeah.
A couple years back, which was pretty funny. But yeah, he's getting at least half ratioed on it so far, from a lot of HEX people and stuff like that.
It is good to see the ratios. It's good to see us in our community stand up for something. Unfortunately, the problem with that is, like I said, you increase your own algorithm of seeing more and more of it, which only plants the seeds of self-doubt in what you are doing. So, just like I said, be careful if you're interacting with these people. Look at their follower count. If they've got under 200 followers, it's probably really not worth your time. It may be an alternate account set up by somebody just to do that with. And especially if it's under 100 or under 50, just block them, get rid of them, because they're just trolls. They come online and because they have a miserable life of their own, they want everybody else to feel miserable too. So,
yeah. And you do get numb to it, I think, after a while. I mean, like every now and then maybe it'll piss you off, but I mean, eventually it's like, okay, you're a loser that's trying to start up like a new crypto following, and part of the way that you want to get followers is by like trashing Hex because you know they're going to come at you with a pitchfork and stuff. It's a tired act, you know, where like I like blockchain boy, Eric Hartman, I like to call him, is doing this now. Although he reminds me so much of Ben Armstrong. Like he's just so, you know, he's just such a client. He just wants attention so bad.
Attention-driven drama is what it is. I did see he posted something about PulseChain, and I think he has some. I definitely think he does. Well, yeah, and that's what another thing a lot of these guys will do is they won't talk good things until they fill their bag. Then they pivot on what they say. It gets more bullish the more of it they have. So you got to be careful of that. And a lot of these arguments that these guys are all coming up with are just recycled narratives from the first cycle. So again, you can go back to a lot of this stuff and look at it, and it's the same unfounded accusations and nonsense that it was the last time. They've got nothing new. Because really no one's been scammed unless they sold the bottom. So
the term scam is used so often that it's lost its meaning. I mean, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Like that would actually intrigue me, frankly, when I hear it now. To hear, oh, Ponzi scam. Like if everybody's saying that, I'm like, tell me more.
Right.
So yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. So the haters are going to hate.